Welcome back for this last day, looking at the book of Micah. Micah 7, beginning with verse 11. We'll go through the end of the book. Again, next week, we're going to be focusing on Nahum. And then after that, we'll be looking at the book of Exodus. Today, I got to put back my Micah commentary. That's been so helpful for me. The blue commentaries from CPH are amazing. If you want some information, they can be pretty technical. However, they have a lot of good in there that I think even a lay person could get much out of. So that's my recommendation. If you're looking for an in-depth commentary series, that is one to look at. Let's get going with Micah chapter 7. A day for the building of your walls. In that day, the boundary shall be far extended. In that day, they will come to you from Assyria and the cities of Egypt, from Egypt to the river, from sea to sea, and from mountain to mountain. But the earth will be desolate because of its inhabitants for the fruit of their deeds. So this has changed. Again, we don't know who is doing the speaking, but the person who's being spoken to, the your, is a feminine, again, referring to Zion or Jerusalem, the city. So again, talking to the city of the return, a day for the building of your walls. In that day, the boundary shall be far extended. In other words, the restoration. But it's more than just the restoration of them returning from exile. It's something more. They will come to you. Assyria, Egypt, all the nations will come to you. But yet the earth will be desolate. There's a sense of foreboding of judgment here as well for the nations, but a sign of hope for God's people. Verse 14. Shepherd your people with your staff, the flock of your inheritance, who dwell alone in a forest, in the midst of a garden land. Let them graze in Bashan and Gilead, as in days of old, as in the days when you came out of the land of Egypt. I will show them marvelous things. The nations shall see and be ashamed of their might. They shall lay their hands on their mouths. Their ears shall be deaf. They shall lick the dust like a serpent, like the crawling things of the earth. And they shall come trembling out of their strongholds. And they shall turn in dread to the Lord our God, and they shall be in fear of you. Isn't this amazing? So we got a hint of that destruction early on. And now in this section, again, that you is Zion, talking about what it will be like with the nations. That I like in verse 15. I will show you marvelous things. There you go. 16. The nations shall see and be ashamed of all their might, because their might is nothing compared to God. Like when he led them out of Egypt, destroying Pharaoh's army in the Red Sea, showed his power to the nations, all of those who opposed his people. The same will be here. This beginning of this one, verse 14, I got ahead of myself just a little bit. Verse 14 really reminds me of Psalm 23. Shepherd your people with your staff, the flocks, the whole dwelling alone in a forest in the midst of a garden land, lying down in green pastures reminder, things like that. So this is a good reminder of how God will protect his people, but yet the nations will fall under that judgment. So let's continue now with verse 18. Wrap it up through the rest of this book. Who is a God like you, pardoning iniquity, and passing over transgression for the remnant of his inheritance? He does not retain his anger forever, because he delights in steadfast love. He will again have compassion on us. He will tread our iniquities underfoot. You will cast all our sins into the depths of the sea. You will show faithfulness to Jacob and steadfast love to Abraham, as you have sworn to our fathers from of day of old. Again, Micah loves to use word plays, and we've pointed a few of them out. We see another one here. The name Micah means who is like the Lord. So he changes it a little bit here. Who is a God like you? Again, that little play. And then, what kind of a God? One that is forgiving. 4 different ways he talks about forgiveness. Pardoning iniquity, passing over transgressions, casting all of our sins in the depths of the sea, tread on our iniquities underfoot. All of those ways show his forgiveness. I find that amazing. And then it also shows his love, his compassion, how he has been faithful to Jacob, showing steadfast love to Abraham. Again, going back to the beginning, to that promise, showing that that promise is going to be fulfilled in the Messiah who would come, in Jesus Christ. This picture is the end, is a partial fulfillment in the person of Jesus coming into this world. And it is a full fulfillment of God in his pardoning of iniquity and of sins, all that we have done against him, and the restoration that we see of how he is our shepherd today and for all eternity in heaven. Micah has been an interesting book. Again, it's been a hard book to understand in many ways. He does a lot of different things, which makes it a little bit harder in the English, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Come back next week. Again, we'll focus on Nahum. Hope to see you then. God bless.